Welcome to the Weekends Over podcast. I'm your host, Alex. I'm here with Taylor and Max. Y'all both say hello.
What up?
No, I will not.
And we're back from possibly the best weekend of sports every week. But this time,
Especially
this
for the
March
SEC.
Madness, yeah,
Okay.
especially for the SEC, but this time for this March Madness, not as many upsets. But
Real quick. Yeah, they just carried her off the floor, so probably not great.
Taylor's talking about the women's basketball player for USC. I can't remember her name right now, but
Juju?
yeah, Juju, yeah.
Juju
Apparently
Watkins.
her knee exploded.
I don't know if it exploded, but just the way she was rolling around grabbing it, then she didn't even try to walk. So
Gotcha.
anyways,
But
my bad. My
no,
bad.
you're good. We're just gonna go ahead and hop into it and talk about the first round and round of 32 for Alabama and Auburn. Taylor, I'll let you talk first about the first round game against Alabama State, and how did you feel when Alabama State went on their little run in the first half?
I was getting a beer, I think. No, seriously. Ew, whatever. I mean, we didn't really look like we cared. Now, I was kind of nervous because, like, if we play like that again, we'll lose from here on out. That's the last game you could play like that. I really was. Actually, I was a little disappointed. I wish we'd have won out and won by 40, because kind of wanted to. But
I know you had Auburn cover.
yeah, I had Auburn covered, but it really wasn't even that. And then I also like Alabama State. I get it. Like they're not like good, but like their guards. Like if we'd have played that other team, I think we actually might have. Like Alabama State's got some athletic guards, so like they made some
100%.
plays. They hit some shots that kept them like
One of
within
their
20,
players
or
was one of their players was doing really good.
that kept them within 25 or whatever for
Point
the
guard,
rest for the
Jordan
the point.
Dreads.
Yeah, I mean it was just making shots and getting, I don't know, making plays, and we didn't really care. And we got up once we cared for like a couple stretches, like they got it to like one, then they missed all their like four free throws in a row where they could have like taken the lead, and then we went on like a 9-0 run in like 20 seconds, and then we're up 10 at halftime, and then stretched it out to like 16 or 17. Oh yeah. So it was just a win. I mean, probably the same way you feel about Robert Morris, just whatever. No,
No, no, no,
You
no,
felt
no.
thankful.
I
Please.
didn't. I didn't get to watch as much of it. I was at a bar. I was at a Kentucky sports bar. I was watching it on and off. I mean, I
We
never
feel
think y'all.
very
I didn't.
different
I
about.
didn't think. I will say. I will say. Okay, I was
Our
joking.
assholes were tight.
I was joking. I was joking. I know it was close, but I was. There was somebody at the table next to me that was bitching because he took Alabama to win by 23 and a half. I think he put a lot of money on it. It wasn't an Alabama fan. So like it wasn't an Alabama fan. It was like a Kentucky guy, but he kept yelling. He was upset, but I do think y'all had like now y'all you had your halfway yell moment of me last year, except for y'all like pulled away. But like those like minutes like 9 to like 5 probably was like your stomach just dropped.
Did you write down our picks from last week?
I don't think I did.
I was gonna say I don't think you did, but look if you did because I want to say something. I did call Robert
No,
Morris cover.
I remember you calling Robert Morris
I
cover,
called
but
Robert Morris cover.
I didn't write him down because
But
we
yeah, I mean,
didn't.
we'll just go ahead and go straight into the Alabama Robert Morris game. There's a little bit more to talk about there for that one. First things first, let me just tip the hat to Robert Morris because talk about a team coming out, giving it their all, and just putting their just everything out there and like diving for every loose ball, doing everything that they can to win. I mean, they did great. What was that player's name, Max, that was killing us?
Dickerson.
He was balling on us. He was making every play. And the thing was like they were like I don't know what the final rebound margin was, but they absolutely grabbed every single offensive rebound that they could, and that's how they stayed in the game for the majority of it. They
14 no boards.
yeah,
To
they
our
just
like 2.
hmm
They hey, that conference has been well represented. Oakland was the champion of that conference last year.
they were. I mean, obviously this isn't like a great team, but they were 123 in Kim Palm. But if you it's like 123, I think. But if you go and look at their actual rebounding numbers, I believe they were like 40th.
No, they had some. course, I saw that in the when we were doing the thing, but I really didn't think it'd be an issue because y'all are like, what are
Yeah,
y'all
we're
like fifth or something like that?
yeah.
So I was like, yeah, that's not really gonna be an issue from y'all. But that I gotta give they did make some crazy fucking passes.
Oh,
And I mean,
yeah.
so and like they were, I gotta give them credit. They were not afraid to turn the ball over. That half court like alley oop layup was pretty fucking insane.
hmm Uh, Max, I mean, I want you to give me your perspective on the game. I know you had some about the refs and the foul calls and stuff like that. I want you to kind of give me that, and then also, what do you think Grant coming in did for us at the end?
Well, the rest, I'm not like, I don't think they were one-sided either way. I just think early in the game, guys were getting just tackled and they weren't calling it both sides. And then late in the first half, then they start calling ticky-tack fouls, like, hardly any stuff. And then later on, it would, another guy would get tackled, they wouldn't really call it, and then another tick. I mean, they just weren't very consistent either way, I don't think. Um, but yeah, no, Grant when he came in, that that changed the game. Even Nate Oates said that he didn't even sub him in. He said Grant just got up and said, "Yeah, I'm going in," and I mean, it just changed the momentum we had. He immediately got in there and got a couple of rebounds, and you could just
Big
tell the
dunk.
difference. And even, I mean, I guess we'll probably move into St. Mary's later on, but in St. Mary's, the first part of the game, he got like 3 rebounds in a row, and that's just his game is, he can dunk on people and do all that. He can sometimes shoot threes, but his game is just playing physical down low, getting rebounds, making tough plays, and that's what. I'm not
Mhm.
gonna say he won us the game because he didn't go crazy or anything like that, but he definitely made a big difference. And
I want
you
to
know,
say, Charles Barkley, he was talking at halftime about this game, and he had a really good point. And it was obviously there's no excuse for us playing in a close game. I mean, like I said, give them all the credit; they played great, but there's no way that we should actually be in a close game for that long against them. And we have a far superior team. But Charles Barkley made a really good point talking about Grant Nelson not being in throughout the first half and like half of the second half and the things that he does for us. I mean, he is our leading rebounder. Grant Nelson leads us in boards, but also he's that stretch for that really spreads out the court for us. So him not being there condenses it a little bit more than that we're used to, and I don't think we were really used to that because we've had him for a good bit, and I think that definitely made a difference in the game. And obviously, he's our guy that can go in and out and have that height advantage on most people. Jaron Stevenson is great. He could do that as well, but not as good as.
he's not quite as physical as Grant is.
And he
Grant
doesn't
can get
have
in there
that
and
finesse as
bang.
well. Yeah.
Yeah,
Your season will go as far or as short as Grant Nelson takes you.
Grant and Cliff. We'll get into that a
yeah,
little bit
I think
more.
yeah.
Oh, but well, let me just say legendary game from Cliff and that
Yeah.
Robert
Cliff has had
Morris.
a great tournament, both
Yes.
games. I mean,
All right.
St.
So my
Mary's game as well.
my point on that is right. I mean, if Grant had a bad game and Cliff carries you against BYU, like fine, but you're gonna Grant's gonna be
Grant
like
has a lot more to offer than Cliff. I know
Yeah.
what you're saying. Grant could go
I'm
off for
talking. I'm
30.
more or less talking about Duke. You're not
Yeah.
beating Duke without Grant Nelson playing like
Oh,
he did
true.
again.
Grant's
Without
got
him
to score
playing against
20.
Auburn. Like he's got to have
Yeah.
the Auburn game for you
Mhm.
to win that. I mean, no, you don't need Grant to be like Superman to beat BYU, but you probably would, or Arizona. But if you play Duke, which I mean, I would be utterly
Let's
shocked.
gotta get past BYU first. But let's go ahead and go Creighton. Uh obviously first half Creighton was shooting the lights out of the ball, and I sent Taylor a text and I said they're not going to be able to do that the whole game, and I felt confident that Auburn was going to do good in the second half. Obviously they did. Taylor Thompson, he was there. He was
So
our man in
In
the
the flesh,
stands.
in the
Yes, I
flesh,
want you to let
sweating.
us know how it felt there and kind of just your
well,
overall opinion of the game.
I do want to say this about Creighton. I like their team. Their coach they have is really smart. So
He's
they
been there
knew
for a long
Auburn.
time.
So they had a great game plan, honestly. Like they really did. So their game plan, I mean, and Auburn adjusted in the second half, but their game plan was Auburn never always switches. So they were running what's the old dude's name? The small
Faulkner.
well no, that's Cogburn or no, I'm talking about in the first half, the
Oh,
guard.
you're talking about Little. I don't know his name. but
Ashworth or whatever
I
his
think it
name
is
is. It's
Ashworth.
the white dude that
The
looks
guy
like
that
he's
said
got
they can't guard me?
yeah. So I mean, he was at that point nobody could.
Yeah.
What they were doing is they're like, okay, so we're gonna switch him on to Biggs, and then they were switching him on to Broom, and Broom couldn't stay in front of him, and he was going into the lanes, and then people were crashing down, so they were kicking it out to wide open threes. So they had us scouted out pretty good because I also wondered how they were gonna, you know, deal with getting open looks. I hate the echo. But yeah, that's what they did in the first half is basically run that pick and roll switch, and we would switch Broom onto him, and Broom couldn't stay in front of him. Now, what we did in the second half is we tried to keep Broom away from that, and if they were going to switch onto a big, it's Cardwell. Cardwell getting switched onto a little guy is a completely different story than Broom getting switched onto a little
Hmm.
guy. Cardwell is
Super mobile.
not a mismatch. He can move laterally. That
Hmm.
like most big guys can't. He can move laterally, and he's one of the best rim protectors in the country. So when he got onto Cardwell, he stood no shot. But for the first half, they were really good. They were really good at running switches, getting open shots, and then they were hitting some non-open shots. But their offense moves really effectively. It's not. I know y'all have played them a couple times, so you're probably a little bit used to it. I think it's probably the most unique college basketball team ever watched live. I don't see too many teams run the style they run. Their defense is like I don't say matchup zone, but they run like Kalkbrenner plays zone and the other four guys play man. So like they
It's
like
a box and it's not a
it's a
box
box.
and
The
it's
one
it's
kind
kind of
of,
like an opposite of a box and one.
yeah.
Yeah, so like it's so unique. It takes a while to adjust to if you don't play them a lot, which it did for us. But it does give you a lot of open shots for threes. And what it does do is take your big guys out of the game, which if you go look at the stat sheet, Pettiford had 23, I think CBM had like 13 and Denver had like 16. So I mean like that's where
Denver
like
had a
all
great game.
yeah, so like well they made our guards beat them. They were going to make our guard. You have to use your guards to beat them. Your big guys, they cancel your big guys out. Kalkbrenner is really fucking good. I don't necessarily know if he shouldn't be at least second team All-American. I mean, he owned like he held Broom in check. I mean, Broom did. I will say this: he might have had a bad offensive game, but he did at least rebound. So,
Rebounded defense. He was good.
and I'm still not too certain that it wasn't planned for Broom to just not be a big part of the offense because like I said,
I think
they leave
y'all's
you wide
advantage.
open. They leave your guard. They will let your guard. That's why they like struggle with y'all so much is they will let your guards beat them. They're just not going to let you run sets and alley oops and stuff like that. Like so, but we needed our guards to step up and like I'll let you get into it. But Denver, yeah, I agree with you on
Denver
Denver.
had a
But if
great game and defensively as well, especially like coming into that second half. He played phenomenal. One thing I will say is like kind of talking down low. Kalkbrenner, he was doing pretty good, but he never really got to get control of the game. And I think that was just Denver and y'all's down low. But I think that what you're talking about, making the guards win, I think that was both y'all's strategies. Like, I think they wanted to be like, all right, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen by y'all. And I think y'all were confident, like, yeah, we can beat them with our guards. And I think that's kind of what it was. And Pettiford had a really good game as well. Really
they
good
kept
job playmaking.
they tried to double team him a couple of times at the end of the game, and it
Mhm.
didn't turn out too great.
CBM, decent game. He brings such good energy for y'all. And see, and that's the thing. If he can play like that and bring energy and bring y'all up, I mean, that's great. But if he gets frustrated, then that's what kills y'all. So he's doing really good right now. He's been really good for y'all.
He was probably at one point. I mean, him and Pettiford were the biggest players in that game. When CBM got hurt or whatever, which is just a bone bruise on his hip and came
Yeah.
out, that's when they kind of came back. But I was about to say, like, Kalkbrenner scored a lot more in the second half, but a lot of it was when they got down 13 or 14, and Auburn was smartly not fouling.
Mhm.
Um, I I liked the way the game was called, I guess.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty. I didn't really have any
It
problems
was
with
in it.
anything.
It was fun to watch. It was fun to watch, and the pace was fun. I mean, obviously, we weren't running up and down like Creighton didn't want to play fast. I don't really blame them. There's only a couple teams in the country I think that try to invite Auburn to run, like maybe Alabama and Duke. Alabama and Duke maybe are the only two that I think would try to
We
speed
have
Auburn.
to.
Well, but y'all are
We're not beating y'all in this slow game. Y'all will beat the shit out of us.
but you're one of the teams that can. I mean, Houston doesn't want us to run. I'm just trying to think on my head. So, of course, they slowed it down a little bit, and so it was in that we get to get it to the low 80s, and then they scored like 70. But there was that they got up, they went up 50-48, and I think CBM got an and one, went up 51-50. But from when they were up 50-48 with like 14 minutes left in the second half, till 4 minutes or 5 minutes to go in the game. And I think the exact number is a field goal wise is from 11 minutes to go in the game to 4 minutes to go in the game. They didn't score a single point. So they got it to like 50. Yeah, we were up like 55-54, and we went on like a 13-0 run or something like that. Got all the way up to 14, 68-54, and then it was just hold them. They went on a little late surge there, cut it to 7. They didn't get enough free throws, and then they missed 5 of them. So like it was actually yeah. They were a bad matchup in the sense of like when I started looking at them, they were a terrible offensive rebounding team. So that was good for Auburn, and they were terrible at drawing fouls. So
Good for y'all as
Auburn's
well.
that's that. So it was a good matchup for us, honestly,
Yeah.
when they weren't shooting 68%. But yeah, it was a good
After
win.
that first half.
I
Yeah, it was
like
a good win. Y'all look good. Obviously,
I
in that
like
first
the
half.
effort. I like the effort.
Yeah, y'all are
But
playing
like you
hard.
said, Denver hit some cold shots. But the MVP of that game,
Bedford.
and I mean, was Cardwell.
I think it was
Did,
Bedford.
well,
Offensively.
yeah, but if you go look at plus minus, Dylan Cardwell was plus 22.
Oh.
But I mean, yeah, he was caught. Like I'm saying, like in the second half when they kept trying to run that pick and roll and like switch Ashford onto a big, we made sure it was Cardwell every time, and it just didn't work. Um, we got them to take a lot of mid-range jumpers. That's what we wanted them to take. Um, so yeah, all in all, it was a good win.
Um,
Fun
next.
environment. Rupp is cool. I mean, Tennessee fans aren't, but there was a little. I would like to say like a lot of people. I want to say all fan base. I know why a lot of Auburn people didn't show up, and like I bought a ticket, so I see how expensive they are. But like, I think a lot of people waited for Atlanta for Auburn.
It'd be a lot easier.
Same thing with Tennessee though. Like they had Tennessee had this. Well, no, Louisville had the most people there. So I went to the first game. There was like at least 15 to 17,000 Louisville fans at that game. So that was pretty crazy. So I'm kind of glad they lost because that would have been just a true road game. But after that, Tennessee, and then I guess Auburn, Creighton really didn't have anybody. But yeah, I think a lot of people were saving for Atlanta, but whatever.
Y'all made it. Now we'll talk about St. Mary's. First things I want to get off my chest before we talk about the game is see a lot of people on Twitter talking, especially Auburn fans, saying the path Alabama has is easy, all this stuff. Obviously, last year we made the Final Four. We all you can do is beat the teams in front of us. But for Auburn fans to be complaining about the path right now is so stupid. Just Robert Morris, a lot better than Alabama State. Obviously, 1 versus 15 seed. Obviously, they're going to be a lot better. But the thing that pisses me off is the people shitting on St. Mary's. St. Mary's, when you look at Ken Palm, is obviously a lot better than Creighton. Obviously, people can argue about who actually is the better team. But I think the big thing that's going on here is Creighton had a really good game against Auburn. They shot the shit out of the ball and they looked really good. And I think St. Mary's had a bad game against us and they looked really bad. And I think that's what's going on here. Not to be blinded by St. Mary's is a horrible team. I think that's kind of what's happening for a lot of people. I think if you put St. Mary's and Creighton in a one-on-one game, I think St. Mary's is probably going to be favored in it.
Well, I mean, metrically, yeah, the Kim Palm has them higher.
So that's just the thing for me.
They did look god awful though.
They did. I mean, yeah, they did. I think.
I'm not saying Alabama didn't play a part in it because they did play good defense, but like some of those shots, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. You can't play that style. I don't know. It was a bad matchup for them.
From the get-go, the pace was up. So you just kind of knew, and you could tell at the end of the first half, their bigs were tired. They were huffing and puffing. Like they had ran more than they ran all year. And once they got to that point, I mean, I was still weary about it, but once I could tell that we were running the pace, I was like, we're not going to lose this game. We said it as if we score over 70, we're going to win.
And that was the thing that we spoke about too on the podcast when it was just me and Taylor Max. Is we said if we can get up and make Creighton play
You
our
mean St.
game,
Mary's?
I mean, sorry, St. Mary's, then it's going to be in our favor because they don't want to do that. If we get up by 10, they're going to have to play fast, and then they're just not that team to do that. And so I think it really favored us. Like you said, we controlled the tempo the whole time. Big thing for us is right now, we don't have. So one thing I'll say is Diabate. We talked about it when me and you were watching the game. How he's shooting threes. He is shooting really good right now.
The team in percentage.
Uh, and how Cliff and Grant Nelson are playing down low. This whole year, I've been hating. It's been making me really mad because it just seems like it hasn't clicked. They weren't playing good, but all of a sudden, I'm not complaining. It's clicking right now in the tournament. Obviously, we're maybe not playing like the SEC teams that we've been playing the whole year. That's probably why they're playing so good. But I mean, they look really good. Cliff is playing out of his mind. He is just a lob machine. That reverse slam alley that he had was
Nasty.
yeah, it was nasty. But I'll let you kind of talk about it more, Max. What do you think about the game? What do you think the key was? And yeah, just
Yeah, the key was, obviously the tempo and I thought Nate made a good point after the post game press conference. He was saying, they're a really good offensive rebounding team, and they got 15 offensive rebounds on us. And he's like, so we can't expect to shut them out. And he's like, but offensive rebounds don't equal points. So he's like, once they get the rebound, don't let them score. And I thought we did a good job of that.
our
Because
defense looked good.
we ended up with more second chance points anyway. As long they can get an offensive rebound as long as they don't let them score it. That's the main thing. And I thought we did a good job of that. Thought Chris Youngblood was huge in the first half. That
Mm-hmm.
bank three he made at the top corner of the goal was
Never making that
retarded.
again.
No, he'll never make that again. But he was feeling it. I think he made three in the first half,
He
so
did.
he had 13 points. So he was feeling it. They said Grant and Amari. Amari's had a great tournament so far, just getting lobs, getting rebounds. I think he's had a double-double both games. I know
Yes.
it's against lesser teams, but if he could continue to step up and Grant can continue to play the way he's playing, you know, I see us, making a good run, going to play Duke.
Mm-hmm.
One
Let's
game
beat
in between
BYU
that.
first. Yeah, let's beat BYU
No,
first.
no, I know. No, no. I was saying like, I mean, you're making the
That's
run.
what
Like,
I'm saying. If we keep playing good,
you
but
only
obviously,
you're only one away from it. Is what I'm
then it
saying.
doesn't.
Yeah,
And it
yeah,
doesn't.
yeah,
But then it's like
yeah.
if we play good and play Duke, we can still lose.
Yeah.
I
I
don't think
don't.
if we play really good against BYU.
That's
Look,
probably.
BYU's tallest guy is 6'8". I know they run. I know they run. But guess what? We're the king of running. No one runs like we do, and we got bigs. So BYU, fuck you, Mormons. Joseph Smith is a liar. He's dumb.
Damn.
There
I
we
mean,
go. I mean, you used to love them. What happened? To love changed?
I don't care if they're joking or whatever they're doing. Fuck you, BYU. Brigham Young likes little boys.
Oh man.
what
He went to
is?
Epstein's Island.
There we go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How do you feel about that?
We haven't posted a TikTok in a while. There you go. You can make that one.
I don't want the Mormon church on my ass.
Oh goodness. Yeah, I
Oh,
mean, let's go and before we go and like talk some of the games that we're gonna say, like have one thing I
I
want to say
have.
is who. Yeah,
Can
go
before
ahead.
you get on this. So your whole thought. This is not about specifically about Auburn and St. Mary's fans, but I don't think it was a secret that this year, and this has nothing to do with like how they seeded it, how they should have. This was like the 8-9 line this year was is probably the hardest it's ever been. Like
Mhm.
actually, like there was not that big of a difference between being a 1 and 2 in the first round since. Like actually, if anything,
Oh yeah.
if
Yeah,
anything, you had the chance of
As
playing a
far as
10.
like
No, I'm just
UConn,
I'm just saying like
UConn is Gonzaga.
UConn,
Yeah,
like
those are
that's
because
as
I
horrible.
tough as it gets.
Those are horrible teams to get. Yeah.
I guess Baylor and Mississippi State was probably the easiest combo you could have got for Duke.
Yeah.
But the other ones, I mean, like, I don't know. Louisville was underseeded 8. Like I
Mhm.
saw that thing where like we talked about it on the pod. Like they put Memphis's like resume and Louisville's
That didn't
resume
make
together,
sense.
and like
Yeah,
one was clearly a 5 and one was clearly an 8. But it's almost like they switched them up and went, oh shit, too late. So yeah, that's just my only thing on that. So this made it a lot worse too. Just the 8-9 games being so hard this year. But Duke did not struggle, which
they
Duke's
looked
playing better
great.
than anybody right now.
That was kind of the next thing I kind of want to segue into. Obviously, we talked all the Bama Auburn games. Couple of games that I want to talk about that happened in this tournament. Second round, Arkansas over St. John's. Razorbacks look good. They look great. The thing about St. John's that we always talked about this year, we did really like them, but that we always said the thing that was going to bite them if it happened would be their offense. And what Arkansas did is they made them make tough shots. They protected the rim. They didn't let them get close. They wanted them to beat them by shooting, and St. John's couldn't do it. Arkansas, healthy, really good team, really athletic, feisty team. Those are one of the scary teams that you know if you get in the game with them, if you get them on your up next, you just know it's going to be a bloodbath. You know it's going to be diving on the ball, all that type of stuff. So shout out to Arkansas. I think
Yeah, that was a
I,
bad matchup for St. John's because
yeah,
exactly what like. St. John's plays like that too, where
yeah,
they
I
that
make
feel
you
like
make.
Arkansas is probably a little bit better St. John's. Like,
No,
you
no.
know,
Well, my point is
they're
so
better offensively.
St. John's strategy is to make you make those tough athletic shots. That's fucking what Arkansas does on
Arkansas hit
offense.
them with
yeah.
That's
their it
all
was a
they fucking
reverse
do.
card.
They take like shots. You go, what the fuck are you doing? And they like go in. They've always done that. Even with Musselman, they did it. So like I mean that was a bad matchup. I thought Kansas was going to be tougher for Arkansas than.
Kansas should have won. They
That's what
fumbled.
I'm saying. I thought Kansas was going to be tougher than I thought I didn't know if St. John's could beat Kansas or
I was
Arkansas.
pretty confident Arkansas would win.
Hmm. So I'm not that shocked. Who Vandy
Yeah,
Vandy? I don't know how Vandy lost that game.
they
They
got
suck.
cold. They got
They got cold
cold.
and couldn't hit nothing.
They got cold, and then they started playing St. Mary's pace, and then
Yeah,
obviously
I
St.
mean,
Mary's was going down low, and actually they were hitting three. They hit a couple
bro,
threes in the second half against them.
it was
Well, they
40.
hit a couple against
It
y'all.
was 41-29 early in the second half,
Yeah, I wrote that shit
and the
off.
final score was like 59-56. Like
I
Vandy
wrote that shit
scored
off.
like I'll have to look it up. I bet they scored like 18 points in the second half.
Um, Yeah, it was pretty ridiculous. I know they were up like well, they were up 29-22 at halftime and then they extended it to like
We're
49
up 40,
41.
40 something 29. That's why I remember I turned it on. I was like,
Well,
wow.
it was 29-22 at halftime and then really quickly to start the second half they went on like an 11 uh 7. Well, it's not really a run. They just extended their 7
Yeah.
to 11. But then for the rest of the half, yeah, they went on a stretch they didn't score, I guess, because I didn't really watch it. But
Then
They
St. Mary
scored
started hitting threes.
Vandy scored 27 points in the second half, and I know there's a huge run that St. Mary's went
But
on.
the point is
Yeah.
they scored 11 of them in the first like 5 minutes of
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, they
like
didn't score anything until
they scored 16 in the last 15 minutes, I think.
yeah.
So like let them get back in it. The
Oklahoma,
league.
UConn, and we'll talk about UConn, Florida. Oklahoma gave UConn a run for their money. They were
I'd
playing
about to
really
say
good.
Oklahoma had a respectable tournament. I mean, unlike Texas,
Yeah, they looked. They actually were up huge and then blew it. Of course, what was the
Rodney
problem?
Terry
Their
is a
defense.
dumbass. And
They
their
already got
coach.
They
they
hired
got
the coach that
Xavier.
they lost to.
Yep, they got
I,
Xavier's coach.
Sean Miller will do good there if they let him
Oh,
do good
yeah.
there. I mean, that team, if Sean Miller was coaching them this year, they would have finished in the top half of the league. I mean, like I get it. That dude's a good like recruiter and he's like a good players coach, but he's not a great X and O coach. Um,
UConn, Florida. Let me just say, Hurley, like, what are you talking about? Like when he's talking about like, I
have you
hope they
seen
don't.
that full story
No,
where
so
that
I mean, I saw he said, I hope they don't fuck you like they fucked us, the Baylor, and I'm just like, did like the entire game was such a good game. There were no calls that cost y'all the game. What cost y'all the game was Walter Clayton Jr. just started to go off, and I mean, you can't really do anything about that. For him to say that is just so like,
I know he gets so
uh,
emotional. I know what stretch he's talking about. He's talking about the stretch where Florida had cut it like 2 or something like that, and then UConn went up and they contested a shot and they didn't call it a foul. Then they went on the other end and they did the same thing and they called it a foul. But say the whole game on that stretch. I mean,
So dumb.
but did you see like the SID for UConn made like he was worse than Hurley.
Mm-mm.
He legit threatened a reporter that was recording that video and said he would ruin his career if he'd post it. No shit. Like he legit.
Wild.
And so they like go. You can look it up on Twitter. His name's Bobby Mullen. I mean, like it's like he like threatened a reporter and said he would ruin him if he posts. And then he like tried to defend it and he in a tweet and then he deleted it. And his tweet was like, "Nobody should see the coach like that. That the lasting image should be like him over his players." But they're like, no, he's fucking being an idiot. I mean, go in the locker room and say all that. That's all you gotta do is go in the locker room and say all that. Then they can't hear you. It's not record. It's not a video or anything. It's just
I was about to say, okay.
it's not a video or anything. But you after when you got some time, just go like it like the reporter tells the story, and a bunch of people confirmed it. So he made him an ass out of himself more than Hurley did.
That's
I
so
like
stupid.
Hurley,
He's a great coach. No, there's
but
no question he's a great
but
coach.
I think he's got to get his emotions in check. It's probably cost him a little
Yeah.
bit.
He's got
Look,
to be
I mean,
like,
listen. The thing about Hurley is like you saw why you don't ever want to play Hurley in March because he just didn't have the talent this year. But the plays he drew up and like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if anybody's played that good against Florida. I mean, I guess they
Georgia,
had Georgia, but
that's a
Georgia
lot.
was.
Missouri.
Tennessee.
But my point was in a long time.
Oh yeah, yeah.
My point was since they beat Auburn. I mean, I guess like you said, Georgia, but Georgia kind of just did it because they fluked their way to a win in the second
Yeah.
half. But like Hurley, I hadn't seen somebody like they just ran through the SEC tournament like it was nothing. Ran through the first round like it was nothing, of course, and then but Hurley was running some good some of those sets he ran, and even like the plays that didn't work, he got them open shots at like the end of the game. They just didn't hit him. He drew up open plays. So I mean, that's kind of why it's dumb for him to go like they cost us the game. Because no, if anybody cost you the game, it was your players. It wasn't you. It was like, but you're not. You shouldn't ever say that as a coach. But like, so I mean, you just make your players look bad when you say stuff like that. Because then they go. Because then everybody points out how many open shots you missed. Because they missed a lot of open shots. But good. It was you can't win every national title. I mean, they tried.
Dude, it's just like, dude,
The
you
fucking
know,
have you seen the dude that was part of both titles and he was like 13 and this was his first he finished his career 13-1 in the NCAA in the NCAA tournament, two national titles and two conference titles. I mean, they had a great fucking run. I mean, to get to the round of 32 this year was probably pretty impressive because the Big East this year just was not very good in the sense of like none of the teams they were all middle of the pack teams in the other conferences. So I think that's proved by that none of them made it. Like you were going to talk about how the top 16 made it. And then is Max frozen? Max is definitely frozen. Oh, you're not moving. But so they just didn't really have a top end team this year. They had three really decent like middle of the pack teams and whatever the fuck Marquette is. I don't know, but you know what the SEC had a good showing the first round. I mean, of course they did in the second round. 7-1. The only team that lost was A&M to Michigan, and that was a tough game. I mean, the only team that you go like, the only team you look at and you go, what the fuck? But I mean, Georgia just ran into Gonzaga, and Gonzaga is a top 10 Kim Pom team. I mean, we all said, I know Max wasn't afraid of them, but me and Alex were adamant that we wanted no part of Gonzaga. And then, I mean, they almost beat Houston. I mean,
Yeah.
I know Houston led wire to wire, but Gonzaga had a good run. I don't personally mind there being no upsets because like the upsets are cool and I like it when it happens. But when we get to this point, I'm like, well, fuck, you got Colorado State versus Florida. That's not going to be a game. You got UC San Diego versus Auburn. You know what I'm saying? Like, so now you got like legit 8 really good games.
yeah, Dan Hurley. As I tried to fucking say before Taylor talked for 10 fucking minutes right there. You know what? I just fucking forgot.
All
Dan
right.
Hurley, bad guy, I guess. I don't know.
Uh, but yeah, SEC. Um, First round, obviously we had some teams lose. But we also had some teams that weren't favored, like Arkansas. Arkansas wasn't supposed to win. They're in the Sweet 16 now. Also, I mean, I'm pretty sure one of the most popular upset picks was UNC going in and having a little run. And Ole Miss, shout out to them. They're in the Sweet 16 with everybody. They're playing good. Obviously, makes that mid season Alabama loss look a lot better now that they're in the Sweet 16. I think all of our losses, except for Oregon and Missouri, were the teams in the Sweet 16. So, I mean, that's pretty good for us. But
Fuck you, Texas A&M.
Texas A&M could have made it. They kind of blew it against Michigan. But yeah, I mean, I think people saying that SEC overrated, didn't deserve that many teams. I think that's obviously been shut down. I'm just fingers crossed for that Final Four All SEC. That'd be hilarious. I don't think it's gonna happen, but that'd be pretty cool to see. And also, just let me just add this one step closer, Taylor, to the Auburn Alabama championship game.
Mhm.
One
Nah,
step.
Auburn's losing to Michigan. Sorry.
Y'all losing to the Mormons.
We could never lose that to the Mormons.
Clip it. He said they can't lose.
Oh, just one
Can't
last
lose.
thing before we get into the our Sweet 16 predictions. People were saying there's not going to be any more Cinderellas because the NIL, and we had a little discussion. We'll just talk about it a little bit longer. I think that's I can see why they're saying that, just because this year there was only 12 seeds. I mean, 12 seeds are still upsets, so I don't see why. But there was no like 13s, 14s, 15s, anything like that. I mean, we got close to 15. Alabama was losing with 5 minutes left, but
Bryant
I
played around with Michigan State.
yeah, and just the thing for me is obviously all the Power Four teams are making up the Sweet 16, but I don't think that's the case. I think it's just because there hasn't been an upset, like a big upset this year, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. And Colorado State made it pretty far, so I mean, they were a step away from being in the Sweet 16. So I just don't agree with that. I understand, obviously, as NIL comes in, these players are going to be transferring to the Power Four schools just because there's more money. But I think you look at teams like Drake who have those just senior laden teams. I think they're always going to be a threat, and they're always going to be there. I want to use 1 year of not that
It's,
many
it's
upsets to
it's
justify it.
not like there's always been upsets. You know, there was way more upsets than I'd say the last 5 years than there were the past,
Yeah,
10, 15 before that.
we've been
You know, now there were
spoiled.
some, don't get me wrong, there's always gonna be some, but like, the past 5 years there's been, way more than there usually is.
I I think I saw something. I think this is the same amount there was in 2022, except for the 2022 ones. There was two or three upsets. They were just there was only two or three upsets. They were just like fucking crazy. I
Yeah,
Yeah.
think there was a 15 over a two, a 14 over a three. Also, I think it's just because everybody like I think everybody just expected Big East to beat Clemson, and everybody expected Colorado State to beat Memphis. Like it just didn't feel like an upset.
Yeah.
There was no like UC. That was the other thing. Everybody
Yeah,
was
close.
yeah. I mean, UC San Diego probably should have beat Michigan in the first round, but
they played really bad in the first half.
yeah, they came back. But
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know.
But yeah,
It's random. Basketball's random. There's no like rhyme or reason why certain things happen.
and also this year, I just think those top four, like if you're a top four seed, top five seed, it's heavy this year. There's some really good teams this year, and I think that was the
People
problem.
people like took teams slip, and I'm not just saying it because like Auburn was one of them. People took teams slipping at the end, like the Purdue's and stuff, and were like, "Oh, they're slipping. They're gonna lose this." The problem was they were losing to like other teams in the top 16. They weren't losing to average teams. There was
Hmm.
Yeah.
not a lot. You get what I'm saying? Like there was not a lot of like the upper teams that were like going in like losing to like the bottom teams in the conference or middle of the pack bubble teams. It was all like they were losing to like Purdue slipped up and lost at Wisconsin. Like Auburn, like they're like, they lost 3 of those 4. I'm like, bro, they lost to A&M, which Alabama and Tennessee. I mean, like 2 of those are in the top 6 in KenPom. Same thing with like
Alabama.
Purdue- Alabama, like, and people were like, Alabama's slipping. And same thing with like Purdue. Purdue, the Big Ten had a, you know, as you can see, they've made a good run in the
They've
tournament
had a
too. That
respectable tournament, yeah.
yeah, they got a lot of teams in the Sweet 16 because, but those are teams Purdue was losing to, not Northwestern or anything like that. So just a top heavy year. It happens, like Max says.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's go
And,
ahead and get into
and
everything
also,
else.
if I have to listen to Stephen A. Smith give college basketball takes, because he's the one doing this, when the dude doesn't even fucking watch. Like, you don't, he's like, it's gonna be the death of college basketball. You don't watch college basketball anyway, Stephen A.
Yeah,
So
that's
like,
He
you
talks
gotta.
about Alabama badly. I'm gonna go up to him during the game and cuss him out like LeBron did.
good.
Hey, you about my school?
Uh,
Don't talk about my school like that. Keep my school out of your fucking mouth.
but yeah, I agree. I just think it's just one of those years. You can't have all these upsets every single year. I think we've been spoiled recently as well,
There are casual people that watch just this time of year to watch upsets.
and they've been yeah.
They're the ones that are
Like,
bitching. They're the ones that are bitching. If
yeah.
anything, the people like us
Like you can watch
live.
the games all year and you'll fucking know who the best teams are.
Yeah, like, and that's just like somebody was like, it just sucks not seeing even mid-majors team play. And somebody tweeted, and he's like, I mean, you could start watching in fucking December or November, and you could watch
Yeah.
them play all year long. So like,
The mid
it's
majors team's really good. They're gonna make it.
it was just a lot of casual. It's just a lot of casuals upset with it. I really can have a hard time believing if you watched college basketball this whole year, you wanted to watch Florida play Colorado State and not Florida play Maryland, or Florida play or Auburn play. You'd rather, and I, of course, unless you're a fan, like would I've rather played UC San Diego than Michigan? Absolutely, but you can't tell me as a casual nope. I want to see Auburn, UC San Diego, and Atlanta, not Auburn, Michigan. Like I question your basketball like reason why you watch all year to want that matchup. It's not competitive.
Mm.
That's the thing. Everybody loves Cinderellas, but not when it gets Sweet 16 Elite Eight territory.
No, lose in the
Then
first
that's a
weekend.
free ride
Yeah,
for somebody.
that's a free ride for somebody. I don't want free rides. I mean, unless it's my team, but like you
Yeah,
get my point.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
like you get my point, but I'm just saying like I don't know why if you're a casual you wanted to watch Alabama play um I don't know
VCU or
VCU instead of Wisconsin or BYU, or watch Duke play Liberty instead of Duke play Arizona, or like I said, Auburn, UC San Diego, or watch, Houston play McNeese
I mean, these
instead
Sweet
of
16 games that we got are awesome. These are such good games.
Troy play Tennessee. Like, what I'm saying? Like, did you really want to see that in a time slot? Because now you get to the point where it's like, there's only 1 or 2 games going on at the time. So you can't just like turn to a different game. I want elite matchups the second weekend. Have fun the first weekend. Have a 14 upset of 3, but I still want the 6 to end up going out of that pod. Or if a 15 upsets a 2 for some reason, I want the 7 out of that pod. I want a good game.
I only want the Cinderella to go far if they're going to go far. If they're gonna
Yeah.
go to the Final
If they
Four,
if they're Florida Atlantic and go to the Final Four. If
That's
they're
cool. Yeah, that's really
Chicago, what's the,
cool.
what's the ones from
Loyola.
Chicago? Went to the Final Four.
Loyola,
Went to the Final
Loyola,
Four.
San
Because
Diego State. Yeah.
they had legit guys. That they had a really good team.
Yeah, then it's
Florida
fun.
Atlantic team, all their players are still playing for Auburn, for everybody.
And I mean, like, I guess it's cool, like the same, and I get it. St. Peter's made it all the way to the Elite Eight, and that's a cool story.
But
But
they weren't
then,
as
but then,
talented.
but then you go watch them, North Carolina take out all their starters with 12 minutes left in the first half because they're up 50-10 in
Yeah.
the Elite Eight. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want somebody like I don't want to watch Duke get a free path to the Final Four because they're playing St. Peter's. So
Yeah.
it's cool for the first game. It's cool for the first weekend. But like after that, I want to watch good elite basketball, which I think we'll get this year.
I was gonna say, I mean, we'll go ahead and like talk about good elite basketball. We'll jump into these games because that is what we have. There's not a line over 9, excuse me. And I'm gonna save Alabama Auburn for the last ones, but we'll tell you the
Duke's the
time.
biggest. Is Duke the biggest line?
Y'all are tied with them. Excuse me. Yeah, y'all are tied with them.
Florida should be.
Florida's is like 2.5 or 4 or something like
I
that.
think
Not
they're
on,
6.
not on a. So I have the line from ESPN Bet.
Okay.
6.5 in it.
Yeah, it's 6.5.
Uh,
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
think it should be bigger.
we'll go first game. Florida versus Maryland. The Crab Five versus Florida, who got by against UConn. Obviously Maryland made a big shot against Colorado State to get it done. Shout out to the Colorado State player who I think his name last one was Lake, who hit a big three to go up.
Travel
And
though.
it
you're
was a
not
gather
calling
step. It was a
you're not
gather.
calling that travel. If you call
Hey,
that
guess
travel,
what? So if he tackled him, don't call it either.
if it's obvious like that, but that's a gather step.
Hey, 2 years ago they got screwed on that. Like somebody did that to them. So I mean, they didn't call it then.
They should do. They should call all the calls that are actually happening in real life.
Do you think it was a travel?
He did 3 steps.
That first
The
step
first is a
is
gather. He didn't have the ball completely.
Huh?
He didn't
the
have
first
full push.
step was the dribble coming up. So it's the
It's a
gather.
step.
No, so
But no, it's a gather. Gather step.
so
No.
you're
Explain it,
dribbling the
Alex.
ball, and you know that step that when you're like the ball is coming up and you're still stepping when the ball is coming up.
No, he got the ball and circled and came around the elbow. Like it's clear. You can see the steps.
But he circled his foot,
I'm
didn't he?
not I'm not arguing this one. That one's gonna piss me off. I'm
He's
not doing that
travel,
one.
yeah?
No.
Yes, he did. I know you're used to watching LeBron, but I'm sorry to tell you, LeBron travels every fucking game. LeBron takes 6 steps. You know that's
Florida
true, don't
versus
you? Does
Maryland.
LeBron travel, Alex?
Florida is favored by 6.5 versus
Nobody mentioned
Maryland,
Bronny.
17 points.
Hey, he kind of went off. Now, I like how he went off 17 points, and everybody's like, "See, I told you he's goaded." It's just like, I mean, that's good, but like, let's chill on. It's 17. It's not like. But
Who's coming?
actually, I'm actually glad he got a good game in, so he could kind of shut some people up about him because I like Bronny. I don't like his dad. His dad's gay. But
Can we
Bronny
talk
just
about the Florida versus Maryland game,
uh,
please?
his dad loves China and LGBTQ. Yeah, I think Florida's gonna win.
Uh, we're gonna do we're gonna do the lines as well, Max. The line is 6.5. You said it's not enough, so you obviously have Florida
Florida
over.
covers. Florida beats the shit out of Maryland. Maryland, they've had a good run. They don't have the guys. They
They're
don't. They're
big.
too young. They don't have the guys.
Their
I am
bigs are young.
I'm gonna say yeah. I'm gonna say I'm on the same page as Max right here. They have a really good team. The Crab Five is a fun story, but I think Florida has too much talent. Maryland, very young bigs. Uh, Queen did great. Made that last
Freshman's
second.
good though. He's good, but
He's gonna be in the NBA. He's gonna be really good. He still has braces. He is a freshman. He's like 19. He did
I
great.
think if Maryland starts out shooting well, I think they could keep it close at first. But I just think Florida's gonna second half. Florida's gonna pull away. They come in waves and they don't stop.
And also one thing about Maryland, they don't have a deep rotation. Florida will go 5 in, 5 out on you, and they'll be fresh. So I have Florida covering as well.
Yeah.
LeBron's good.
Yeah. Florida covering. Young bigs, inexperienced.
Yeah,
Walter
and
Clayton.
Walter Clayton as well.
Enough said.
Yep. Taylor, I'll take this one to you first. Duke -8.5 versus Arizona. Caleb Love returns. Not returns, plays again last time.
What game?
Play,
What Caleb Love is going to show up? That's probably the question.
True.
if the one versus who they play last game,
Oregon.
if the one versus Oregon shows up, then that's
I
who
mean,
they
who do
need.
you think would have had a better shot of beating Duke, Oregon or Arizona?
I had thought it was Oregon.
I
I
thought
did
it was
too.
Oregon.
That's why I think Duke covers. I thought Oregon had a better shot of
I
cover.
did. Oregon has a better offense. I think they had better ways to score. Arizona tried to give it away too there at the end, but you know, yeah, I don't think Arizona can do
It,
that, but
I don't necessarily think it looked like the Baylor game, but
It
it
could.
could. Yeah.
it could. I think it could be close at first because Arizona's got some talent, but I don't
Jaden
think they
Bradley.
have enough offense to keep up.
Duke will be up like 6 or 7 at halftime.
Yeah.
Probably win by like 15. Duke's playing like the best team in the tournament right now.
They are.
Way to beat them.
I think if Arizona's gonna have a chance, obviously they're gonna need the what's his name? I don't know. I just forgot his name.
Caleb
Love.
Love.
Caleb Love. They're gonna need the good one, and they're also gonna need Jaden Bradley to score a lot of points. Alabama legend.
They
But
might need the even better Caleb Love because I get what you're talking about, but he still was like 10 and 19 from the field. Listen, I get it. Caleb Love has had some awfully inefficient games, so 10 of 18 or 10 of 19 is good for him, but they probably need a little bit more than 10 of
Oh, he's
18.
gonna have to be the best, probably the best game he's ever had.
I quite honestly, I mean, yeah,
Which I don't see that happening.
yeah, it'd be a
yeah,
game of his life, and it'd be pretty ironic since he was a UNC player at one point.
yeah. So
I
Taylor,
love that.
what do you have?
Duke.
Duke next.
Dude,
I also have Duke minus the 8.5.
the Devils, the Blue Devils.
Next up we have Texas Tech minus 5.5 versus Arkansas.
Remember their lacrosse team?
No,
Oh
we
fuck.
don't remember that.
Don't
Texas Tech
know what you're talking
versus
about.
Arkansas.
I know a way to get them out of the tournament. Lacrosse team them.
Oh my god.
Arkansas has been playing very well, and so is Texas Tech. I been very conflicted on this one just because Arkansas has been playing so well, and Texas Tech has been good, but they've been not. I think Arkansas has been playing better than them. Obviously, Arkansas snuck by in that first game against Kansas, but I'm gonna have Texas Tech wins, but I'm gonna have Arkansas cover. I think
Me
Arkansas will
too.
be able to keep it close.
Me
Woo pig suey. Give me Arkansas. I like the matchup. I think they get it done. I think they go to the Elite Eight.
I definitely think they could. Texas Tech played UNC Wilmington. Actually, was a closer game. Like I said, I thought it would be. Thought that was a sneaky one. Texas Tech did take control against Drake though, so I think they'll.
Drake stayed in it for a little bit.
Yeah, I
We
think
didn't
this is a close one though. I think this will be a really good close one.
yeah, we didn't talk about Missouri. Shit
Uh,
in the bed.
Missouri.
Yeah.
Who's that? They're out of the SEC now.
Yeah.
Put
I have
Drake
to
in the
I
SEC.
don't really have anything to say because basically what you said is what I think is gonna happen. I think it's gonna be a fun one. I think Arkansas will cover because I just think 5.5 is a lot for the type of game this is gonna be, but I think Texas Tech will probably win.
Mhm. Next up, Michigan State versus Ole Miss. Michigan State is minus 2.5. Obviously, they had that first close game against Bryant, and then who they play second round?
They played New Mexico
New
Another close
Mexico.
game. They were
and
losing.
they were down at halftime. They ended up winning by 8,
Mhm.
71-63. But they were down like 6 or 7 at halftime.
Yep, and then you have Ole Miss coming in, who has just steamrolled both
They're
their
hot right
teams,
now, man.
North Carolina and Iowa State. Man,
Oh,
this is
Iowa State. They're
What a
just were a
disappointment.
shell of, well, they got so many injuries, man. I mean, they
I
didn't have
know,
their
but
best player in the tournament.
when them at the beginning of the year, when you watch them play, you're like, oh, that's a Final Four team.
Yeah,
But
that's
then
disappointing. Yeah.
just it just sucked. I feel bad for Iowa State fans because they had a great team and the injuries just took them out of it.
Yeah, just straight up took them out of it. But yeah, Ole Miss though. Ole Miss is playing really good. I wish Chris Beard would go somewhere else. Not in the SEC. He's a really good coach.
yeah.
I hate saying this because they're in our little pod, but they kind of are giving me like 2019 Auburn vibes. I mean, they didn't go
I
win
Oh
the
see the
man,
comparison.
they didn't go win the conference tournament, but like they have like everybody picked them to get upset in the first round. Like everybody's like they had the New Mexico State pick. They won that like North Carolina. They beat the fuck out of a team that in the Big 12 that everybody thought was really good, like Auburn did to Kansas. And then they have a game against a really good blue blood, and then they're playing a team that they haven't been able to beat this year. And Auburn's was Kentucky, and
Mhm.
and Auburn's 3-0 against Ole
I can
Miss. So
see the
if Auburn was to beat Michigan and they were to beat State, then Auburn would have to beat Ole Miss for a fourth time to go to the Final Four.
That would not be fun for y'all.
No. So
Max,
like I see the parallels.
I have a question for you, Max. What Alabama legend is on Ole Miss right now?
Alabama legend on Ole Miss.
Right now, he's playing. He was with us last year.
What is last year?
Yeah.
I think I know this answer. Wait, no, I don't.
Man. He's actually a legend, or you're just
He's not
saying
a legend, but he actually played really well last year in the tournament for us.
in the tournament for us?
Oh shit.
Oh wait, no, excuse me. I am
You're
confused.
thinking of
Yeah,
you're
no.
I'm thinking of Arkansas.
you're thinking I was about to say you're thinking of what's his name?
Whatever
He
Wag
his
plays
name.
for
he
Oklahoma.
plays
He's
for
at Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
Sorry. Yeah, I got
I was thinking
confused.
maybe Crosby, but I think Crosby's at a mid-major somewhere balling.
Yeah, sorry. My
Hey,
bad,
you're
guys.
stupid and
Nah.
retarded.
You know what you're talking
Sorry,
about, but
guys.
I won.
Anyways,
Dude, fuck
next
you.
one.
did y'all well we didn't pick it, so
No, I
Because
have Ole
I
Miss.
dismantled the question with my thought and logic.
I have Ole Miss
I got Ole
money
Miss.
line.
Money
Michigan
line.
Michigan State -2.5.
Freaking
That's the
Yankee.
smart, especially with how this tournament has gone.
That's
That's
not
probably the
smart.
smart one.
Ole Miss is the smart play. Pick the
Atlanta,
sip.
so
Sip some tits.
they're the first game. So they I don't know how many fans they'll have there. They'll try to get a lot there, but Auburn fans have been buying tickets for like months for that game because they knew they were going to be there. But I imagine Auburn fans would probably cheer for them. But
Yeah, I
Michigan
imagine.
fans will cheer for them too. And there will I think Michigan will probably have the second. Um, Either them or Ole Miss is going to have the second most fans there. So,
Mhm.
um,
Uh, next
but
up, this is a sorry.
I think I think State's offense is a little bit more consistent.
Shout out Tom Izzo being one of the most consistent coaches of all time. I mean, I know he's not there,
Consistently
but
in the
I mean,
tournament.
come on. It almost seems like every year, no matter what seed he is, they're advancing. Not winning the championship, but like they're advancing. They're Sweet 16, Elite Eight, something like that.
Mm.
It's hard to do. It's really hard to do.
Yeah, I think I'm just riding with Tom Izzo. But the thing is like the last time these two faced off in the NCAA tournament, ironically, was also 2019 because they were the other two teams in the Final Four that year when Chris Beard was at Texas Tech, and Chris
Yeah.
Beard and Texas Tech absolutely beat the fuck out of Michigan State that year. So, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna take Michigan State, but that'll be a fun one. Wonder if I'll get there. You might get there early and watch that one.
You better. That'd be a great game to watch. Have
Hmm.
some beers and watch it. Next up,
Yeah.
this is uh exciting. Tennessee, Kentucky. Tennessee is favored by 4.5. Tennessee had a little bit Wofford kind of hung around there for a little bit. And second round, who'd they play?
Uh, Tennessee played UCLA.
UCLA. Yeah.
UCLA snuck
I
around for a little
watched
bit.
it
First half.
like the first 12 minutes.
Yeah, but then and then
I
obviously
thought UCLA could hang in there and be physical with them because I thought UCLA was a similar team to them. They're pretty good
good
defensively,
defense.
had
Yeah.
good length, and
There's one big
they,
difference.
they had a bad game, man.
There's one big difference. And I watched it live. Their bigs can. Their backcourt,
Not very
absolutely.
good.
No, it's not very good
Can't
at
score.
all. They can't score. They rely
Yeah.
too much on their bigs to score. They rely too much. They can't drive by. You got to be able to drive by Tennessee. You got to be able to like you got to have
Tennessee's got a Ziegler, so
yeah. So their backcourt. I watched that was the first thing I noticed early on is like I even turned to Buddy and was like, yeah, that their guards aren't going to be able to keep them in this game.
I was off on that one. I think I picked UCLA to beat Tennessee in almost all of my brackets.
Yeah, you
That was
vetoed
one of
us.
my. I really was confident about that one, but I was dead wrong on that.
Talk about Kentucky now, though. Kentucky beat Troy, and then they played really good against Illinois. Kentucky, Brea is playing great. Lamont Butler is playing good. They're I don't know if y'all probably not. I don't know if y'all keep up with this, but their defensive efficiency,
It's gotten
uh,
up.
it's now in the 40s. Which, if
Mhm.
you earlier in the year, it was above 100. So they have made came a long way. Kind of, I mean, similar to Alabama, their offense isn't as potent as ours, and our defense is a little bit better than theirs. But they're playing great right now, and everybody's healthy is the big thing for them. And I this is a close one. I'm not really sure who to pick because I mean, obviously Kentucky's beat them twice. It's hard to beat a team 3 times in a row.
I watched
Um,
Auburn try to do it with Ole Miss. It's not fun.
uh, I'm I'm gonna lean Kentucky here. I'm gonna have Kentucky beating Tennessee. I
They're
think they'll do it.
45th in defense.
Yeah,
Alabama, by the way, is at 29th, so they're hanging around that top 25 thing that you got to get into to win the national championship.
yeah. But I have
Um,
Kentucky. I think Lamont Butler, Kobe Brea, Owe. I think they'll be able to do it. Tennessee's obviously look good. It's a flip of the coin, honestly. For me, the 4.5 is a lot for Tennessee. I wouldn't take that. I would. But yeah, I have Kentucky Max. What do you think?
I also got Kentucky. A lot of people are saying they'll feel dumb if they don't pick Tennessee and Tennessee. I won't. I really won't. Kentucky. I'm not gonna say they dominated Tennessee both times, but they handled them both times. Beating Tennessee at home, at Tennessee, handling. I think they won by 10. That's not nothing. And I feel the same way about this game as I feel with Auburn, Ole Miss, as I feel with Alabama versus
Yeah,
Kentucky. I feel like if we played Kentucky again, I wouldn't be. I mean, we could lose for sure, but I would feel confident because it just seems like we have a certain edge over them that our style is too much, and I think Kentucky's style is it's a little bit different from Bama's. Tennessee can handle Bama's, but for some reason they haven't been able to handle Kentucky's, and I think it's because they're probably just a little bit more. I wouldn't say more athletic, but they got that one really tall guy on the inside who can really dominate.
Owe.
Yeah, not Owe, the other one. I think he's a 7 footer who can run though. He can, but I don't know. But anyway,
Williams.
Kentucky, just some reason they just have an edge over Tennessee, and we've seen it twice this year. If Tennessee wins, you can call me a dumbass. I don't care. I'm going Kentucky.
I don't. It's a tough one.
It's tough. It's super tough.
I think I'm gonna do Tennessee minus 4.5 because I think Tennessee's getting over the hump this year. But like, I guess if they're gonna Tennessee it, this is probably where they would Tennessee it because I mean losing to Houston, it's not really Tennesseeing it. So
No, yeah.
like that's a respectable loss. And I guess like watching, I think Houston Tennessee would be a lot more competitive than Houston Kentucky. So
Oh yeah.
that's why I'm
I mean, Houston's a bad matchup for Kentucky.
so that's why I'm gonna pick that. And seeing Kelvin Sampson versus Rick Barnes in an Elite Eight game, that's elite, as they say, as the kids say. So yeah, all right with Tennessee minus 4.5.
I will say you're
Um,
making the smarter picks here, Taylor, especially for how this tournament has gone so far.
True. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Look, I feel
If
like
I was putting
Tennessee's a
money, I'd go
better
with Taylor.
team. Yeah, if I was betting money, I'd definitely bet Tennessee. But like I said, I've seen Kentucky go to Tennessee and lead the whole game and handle them. And I saw them play Tennessee at home and lead the whole game and handle them. They handled Tennessee twice. And I know it's hard to beat a good team 3 times. It's going to be hard, but
I
something's just telling me, like I feel Alabama against Kentucky. Even if we played them for a fourth time, I'd feel confident we beat them because we just have a certain edge over them that I think Kentucky has over Tennessee.
Hmm.
I yeah, it's smart. But here's another reason you're gonna do Houston Purdue next, I'm assuming.
Hmm.
What is the line in Houston Purdue? We're not getting into it yet.
-7.5, Houston.
So the reason I'm okay with taking the 4.5 is because like I think they're incorporating that into the line because Houston Purdue is -7.5, and that's Kim Palm number 2 versus Kim Palm 16. Tennessee is Kim Palm number 5, so and those are all really close. And Kentucky's Kim Palm 15, and they're giving that at 4.5. So like Alex was saying, like I'm fine with taking that number. I live
Hmm.
with it. It's a tough call though. but I kind of feel like they're giving
See what end
Kentucky
up winning by 4.
they think they're that would suck. Well, not because no, because I'm not betting actual money on it. But yeah, I kind of like they're. I feel like they're respecting what y'all are talking about, putting it in the line. But I also don't think that Kentucky. I don't want to say like the 2 wins were fluky, but like the one in Tennessee kind of was. Um, I don't know. So I don't really feel the same like confidence like I do with like Alabama playing Kentucky. They always beat them. That I do with Kentucky always playing anybody, just because of their defense is the problem. Um, and like their offense is 11th net. Net. I don't know.
It's a tough game, bro.
They're
It's
they're
either one you pick, you're gonna if you lose it, you're gonna look dumb. So
maybe if they had they have full strength, but they're not full strength.
Yeah, I mean, no matter what you take, you're not going to be surprised with the outcome for
No, but
either.
I'll just ride with Tennessee. That way we have something different.
Next up, Houston -7.5 versus Purdue.
Yeah.
Kaufman Wren has been playing great for Purdue in this tournament. Obviously, he's had a little bit of favorable matchups. Obviously, Houston had that close game against Gonzaga. They were leading wire to wire, but Gonzaga didn't make close at the end. Taylor, I'm gonna pass it to you for the first takes. What do you think?
I think Houston covers the 7.5. Um, this is I know I don't really feel comfortable with Purdue's guards going up against Houston's guards. I mean, I do with Braden, but like that's it. And like you said, Calvin Wren's playing great, but old dude from Houston is running point better than probably anybody in the country right now. Um,
Fryer?
yeah, yeah. No, Cryer's not there anymore. It's the freshman that like we played him earlier this year, but it was like his first couple games.
Fryer is on Houston.
Is Cryer? No, but Cryer's not the point guard I'm talking about.
Y'all heard about LeBron?
But
He's good at basketball.
don't scare me like that.
He doesn't love China.
Let me see if I can find his name. Yeah, Cryer's on there, but I'm talking about the.
His son deserves to be in the NBA.
Shut up.
I'll fight LeBron. I'll kick his ass.
Anyway, I'm taking Houston -7.5. I'm putting too much thought in these.
LeBron fucked me up.
I'm going Purdue covers. I think Cryer and sorry, I just said the wrong people. Max is distracting me.
But once I
Braden,
start talking about LeBron, Alex's brain just.
I thought he got injured. I was like, what? They were playing earlier.
He got in a
Kaufman
helicopter
Wren.
crash.
Okay.
You're taking Purdue, aren't you?
Braden Smith.
Oh,
No, I'm gonna take Purdue cover. I'm gonna have Houston win,
Yeah,
but Purdue covers.
I
Braden
want
Smith,
Purdue cover as
Kaufman
well.
Wren, playing good, but I think Houston will definitely win.
I probably should have took Purdue cover, but I do think 1, 2, 3. Shit, we're here.
Yep. We'll do Bama first. We'll let Auburn be the last game. So Alabama -5.5 versus BYU. BYU got through VCU. They played a really close game against Wisconsin, but they did sneak it out. BYU, I mean, I don't have the stats, but they're so similar to Alabama in many ways. They have a really high flying offense. One
They
thing
shoot a
Max
little
is,
bit better from three than y'all do this year.
yeah, they
They're
shoot
they're
better from three.
38 and y'all are like 34 or something like that. But
We're better field goal percentage wise, though, just overall, because we get to the basket more. We're better at rebounding.
way
They
better at
obviously
rebounding.
allow less points a game than us, but
They
we
score
score more.
less.
We score more than them. I think it's a very interesting matchup. And Max talked about the height difference. Their tallest player is 6'8". Obviously, we have Cliff and Grant, and I think that'll be the key to the
Stevenson
game.
and Sherrill.
Yeah, I think that'll be the key to the game. I think we obviously offensively, one thing I worry about is a Missouri game, something like that happening, which would be horrifying. I think we've been playing a lot better defense, and I don't think they have the maybe the athletes that Missouri has and the capability of doing that to us. I mean, they could definitely go off. Uh, Obviously, I'm gonna pick Alabama. I'm gonna have Alabama cover the 5.5. I think big difference is going to be how Cliff has been playing, how Grant's been playing. Also, Reed's been playing coming in. Cheryl, I think Diabate. I think we win. Confident is. If I was going to put a percentage on it, I would put 70, 65% around there. Max.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I feel like we don't necessarily want to get into a 3-point shooting contest with them. I think we want to make our threes, but I think we have a real advantage on the front court and inside. I think I don't, I'm not saying we need to feed it down to the post and let, them do hook shots all night. No, but I think we need to get to the basket, do our alley oops and, kick it out on open threes when we have them. And then obviously we gotta rebound. We can't let them get rebounds off missed threes and stuff like that. Give them a second chance. You know, like I said, I feel confident about this. I got us covering. I do think it'll be a good game. I think
It'll be good.
BYU's they're gonna throw some shots. They're gonna make some threes. They're gonna make some threes. That's no doubt. I watched their game against Wisconsin. They got some guys that can shoot it, but like I said, they're not very big. We have the length advantage on them. I think if we cover up that inside and get to the basket, I think we should be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Taylor.
I know I picked BYU in my bracket, but so I'm being a hypocrite, but I do.
Picking money games right here, as if we're betting money.
Yeah, I do like Bama -5.5 because of Grant Nelson.
I'm not picking these games like I'm betting money because there's a couple of games I'd go back and change. But you said you have
Shut up.
Alabama.
Yeah, I take Bama.
All right. Last but not least, of course, Taylor Thompson, Auburn -8.5 versus Michigan. I'm gonna go
Oh,
first. I'll let you go last for this one, Taylor.
hmm
Auburn -8.5. So key to the game,
8.
Michigan
I thought it was 7.
8.5.
Damn it.
Yeah, lots of points right there. Firstly, I'm gonna just give my pick straight up and then tell you why. Michigan covers, Auburn wins.
Okay.
Wolf and the other big guy that Michigan has are two centers that are 7-footers. What's his name?
Wolf played for Yale that beat Auburn.
Yes.
Yes. The other dude is the FAU guy.
Golden. Wolf and
Yeah.
Golden. Auburn's gonna have to keep it out of so Auburn's got some people that can cover down low. And it's gonna be really just that battle that's going on the whole game. But I think the key to the
Well,
game
Wolf, go ahead, but I
Wolf
just
is a
tell you
stretch, so he can go out and shoot threes, of
that
course. And Golden's the more traditional.
well, Broom's gonna guard Wolf, and then Golden and Cardwell are gonna go at it.
Yeah. So I think Michigan can be turnover prone, and I think Auburn has to take advantage of that. I think Auburn definitely has the better guards by far, but it's going to be how that goes down low that's going to decide the game and how the bigs play. But yeah, Max.
I got Auburn covering. I think Auburn's perimeter defense is too good. I think Michigan won't be able to do anything outside. I think Michigan's offense, is not great. I think if Auburn has any sort of success from three, they're gonna win. Pretty good. I think if Auburn's missing shots from three, like Texas A&M, they're not gonna, they're gonna stay in that fight, that battle, just like Michigan is a Texas A&M of sorts. They have maybe a little bit better shooters, but I don't know. I think Auburn will come out and actually, and dominate them. I think their guys are going to be hitting some shots. I think Auburn will probably speed them up a little bit because they're a pretty slow paced team. I don't think Auburn wants to get in that low post battle with them because Broom and Cardwell. I mean, they're very good. They can cover them. It's not like they can't defend them. But I think they'd rather get out and moving a little bit.
Base it out.
Yeah, I think Auburn will cover.
Before you jump in, Taylor, I would like to say, I definitely agree with Max. I think a faster paced game actually benefits y'all a lot in this one because the turnovers that's going to be.
I like Auburn's backcourt better than Michigan's. I think front courts are pretty. I think that's where Michigan. I wouldn't say they have an advantage, but I'd say that's their best shot.
hmm
Taylor.
I mean, I do this all year, and like 8.5's a lot, so I don't really care if Auburn wins by 3 or 4, whatever, just win. I'll do Auburn minus 8.5. Mainly because I don't want the game to be close because Michigan has been really fucking good the last month of the year, this season in close games. Trey's got like 4 game winners. That's the other thing. Trey Donaldson's like return game to Auburn. I mean, there's no really bad blood between Trey and Auburn. I mean, Trey left because he wanted to play 30 minutes a game and he just wasn't going to do that here. I mean, he was going to play 20 like he did last year. Um, it and also we probably don't have Miles Kelly if we keep Trey, so that's fine with me. Um, Matt Alex said it best, like they turn the ball over a lot. They're like one of the it's kind of the reason why I thought UC San Diego might beat them, just because
Hmm.
UC San Diego is really good at turning people over. Auburn, well, they were one of the Auburn is, I think, actually statistically higher than UC San Diego at doing that, and Auburn's good at not turning the ball over as well. Their turnover to whatever assist to turnover ratio is really fucking good. Um, I think Auburn's going to try to get out and run. Threes. State Farm Arena should be a home game environment.
100% it should.
We played there earlier this year against Ohio State. The guys really liked the rims. They shot. I mean, Ohio State's
Y'all
not as good
killed
as Michigan.
OSU.
It was like 101-49. But my point is like we really like the rims. Um, oh, but Ohio State's not as good as Michigan.
No, but yeah.
Um, they are like Texas A&M, although they still aren't as elite offensive rebounding team as Texas A&M. I think they're still like like I told Alex, like in the low 80s or 70, like high 70s, I believe, when it comes to offensive rebound, which is way better than like Creighton, because Creighton is like bottom 200 something. But the A&Ms and the Alabamas are the ones that really gave us issues, and they were in the top 25 in the offensive rebounding category. Uh, Threes, like Max said, I think if we can hit our threes, then we can maybe keep it spaced out a little. I don't anticipate this will be a blowout, but keep it around 6 or 7. But if we're not, then definitely could see Michigan being up 1 or 2, or we going back and forth on that. They're gonna come to play. They got to take Auburn minus 8.5. I always get nervous about every game, especially when I'm going to them. But every game's not no game's easy now. You're in the Sweet 16. It's all elite matchups. Tahad probably is a. I say Tahad and CBM once again are gonna. We need both of them to play good. But having Denver Jones playing really good right now, like Max said, I really like our guards right now. I need Janai's got to have a better offensive
Yeah.
game. It's got to
Yes.
have like we're probably gonna need him a little bit more on offense. Um, Card, we're gonna need him to step up, and we're gonna need Janai to guard Danny Wolf. Keep him off the boards, keep him don't let him go. Give him open threes. He Broom and can go out there and contest. Cardwell doesn't like to do that, so that's why I think Cardwell will be on the traditional center, because they're Cardwell and him are both similar players, and Wolf and Broom are probably similar players, I would say. But yeah, it'd be a good game. I'll take Auburn minus 8.5. Love to it to be big, but I don't know. We'll see.
Before we get out of here, I want each of us to pick one upset. If you were going to pick an upset, what do you think it would be? Max, you can go first.
Purdue over Houston.
Okay.
Arkansas over Texas Tech.
And I'll go Ole Miss, Michigan State.
I like that.
Yeah.
Those are probably if I mean, of course, we're not going to pick our own schools to get upset. So, but like those are probably,
Surprised no
uh,
one said Kentucky.
True, I'd say Kentucky. I should say Kentucky, but
Yeah.
I don't.
I
The
feel, I feel very confident it's not Florida or Duke. Let me go and say it like that.
Florida's not losing to Maryland.
And Duke's, not losing to Arizona.
No.
That's why I'd feel very confident if it was a disaster for the SEC this round, we will still have 2 in the Elite Eight,
Mm.
because one's getting in between Tennessee and Kentucky, and I think Florida's gonna wrap it, but probably
What
3 or 4. Four.
what game are y'all most excited about? And you can't pick
Not
Auburn, and we can't pick Alabama.
Ole
I
Miss,
think
Michigan State.
Kentucky, Tennessee.
I probably would go Texas Tech and Arkansas. think those will be.
I do think Alabama BYU would be aesthetically pleasing to watch. I like.
It's
yeah.
gonna be. It's gonna be a
It's gonna
fun
be an
one.
NBA game.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. And I'm not. I won't be as stressed out. So because it's y'all.
I'm
But
sure
like,
we'll be.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, Auburn, Michigan will be fun, but it
Yeah,
could be ugly. I mean,
Could be ugly.
I
Yeah.
think Michigan might not. Like, I don't know if Michigan wants the score to be like the A&M score, where it was like 83-78. I think they want it to be like 60 to
they want a
50.
60-pointer. Yeah,
They want a 60-pointer. And Auburn probably should be thinking the opposite.
I think
Get
the higher the
If
points
Auburn
goes,
goes
get
over
the more
70, I
opinion.
think they win it.
I think they should say get to 75. Get to like just take 75 to hold it. Get to 75. Because that means we're playing at a faster pace. We're pushing it, forcing turnovers, yeah.
Harder for their big guys to get down there. Y'all's big guys are, besides Wolf. Wolf can do it, but
Yeah,
yeah,
tire their guys out. And maybe get them in foul trouble.
that is the one
I
thing I
would love
think
to see
about.
what Broom's whistle. Broom's whistle was really good last weekend. Probably the best. Actually, I'll be honest with you. Starting with the SEC tournament, and I was wondering if this is going to start. Broom has got a great whistle since the SEC tournament. He got a really good one in Nashville. I mean, some might even say it was too much against Tennessee, but I'm not. So he's got a good one against State, and he got a good one against Creighton. So if he can get maybe Wolf into foul trouble, you know.
One thing I'll say is they don't vote for the player of the year in basketball until the Elite Eight, Taylor. So he still got
Well, one of
to step it up.
the Naismith and the Wooden don't. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
one of the six has already come out and Broom won. So
Mm-hmm. But
there's 6 nationally recognized ones.
yeah.
So
But yeah, that's been we're not doing any sneaks or locks. We're just kind of did our picks for this week.
we
But
just did the everything. So there is no sneaks or locks unless we started doing CBI,
yeah,
NIT.
we're not
Go
doing that.
Blazers. Go
But thank
Blazers.
you.
Faulkner all the way.
But yeah, this is we I hope y'all enjoyed. Obviously gave y'all our picks and everything. We have some really good games this week, and we hope y'all just
Obviously not as much as we did last week, but there was a lot more to cover last week.
yeah. All I gotta say is roll tide. Hopefully we get it. Get
Well,
closer
damn.
and closer to the Alabama Auburn championship. But
Please, Auburn. Please.
yeah, but this has been the weekend's over. Thank y'all for watching, and we will see y'all next week Monday, and hopefully we'll be talking about some Final Four games with our teams in them. But yeah, we'll see y'all next week.